Hi everyone, Emily here from Emily Reads, and today I have for you my July 2024 reading wrap up. Um, Gosh, I can't believe we're in August already, and I'm so sad. Like, summer is almost over. I have a week and 4 days of summer. Yeah, because officially I go back Thursday, August 15th. I did go to a week-long professional development at my workplace on tech and how to use it in the classroom. I actually learned how to use some AI stuff. No, I am not a great tech aficionado. I think my videos show that, as I don't edit my videos. I don't know how to do that yet. Um, but I learned like how to take a Google Doc and use AI to like then create a Google form. Like literally just ask AI, create this into a Google form. And now I've got a test I could give to my students and I don't have to recreate it. Wonderful. Like how amazing is that and how much of a time saver is that? So well worth it to go. And it was free. And like we presented like what we learned at the end, like on Friday, and we all left with a free laptop. Free laptop. Teachers don't get those things usually, but we all got a free laptop. And it doesn't have Microsoft Office on it, but that's okay. I've got the internet, and so I could use Google Docs and my Google Sheets. I'm good to go. Free laptop. And then we had raffle drawings. Like throughout the week we got these feast cash. So the name of the training was Movable Feast, and so we got these feast cash bucks or feast bucks, and then we wrote our names on them and we put them in drawings at the end for like raffles. And like someone won a virtual reality headset. Someone won a brand new Apple Watch. Like what? I won a set, not as exciting. I did win a set of like puzzle books, but then tucked in the front lap of the puzzle books was a gift card to Barnes and Noble. So you also see a little mini haul at the end of this video. So I'll show you what I purchased at Barnes and Noble. But let's get talking on the books that I read in July. So I'm looking at my spreadsheet here. And the spreadsheet that I used, I modified from Allie over at Hardback Hoarder. In 2023, I purchased her spreadsheet on Etsy, and then I modified it and I just copied it to use it for 2024. So in July, I read 7 books. I DNF'd one for a total of 3,269 pages read and an average rating of 4. So I'm going to start with my DNF. And it makes me sad that I DNF'd it, but I DNF'd it. So, and that was How to Dance by Jason B. Dutton. And I DNF'd it at page 153. So I feel like I gave it a pretty good shot because this is out of 339 pages. So I DNF'd it a little less than halfway through. And the reason why I DNF'd it, so the story is he is a teacher. He has cerebral palsy, and he's a teacher, and he meets this girl. So it's Nick Freeman, and he meets this girl. I can't remember her name. Haley Burke. They meet at a bar, and she is a dancer. She has a boyfriend, and he's just like, oh my gosh, she's like this most beautiful, wonderful, perfect dancer. And he apparently is this very charismatic, wonderful singer and does a lot of karaoke at this bar. Okay, so here's where I had problems with this book. Like, I wanted to like it because I was like, ooh, like romance, and our main male character has a disability. It's Disability Pride Month. It's an Own Voices novel, as our author also has cerebral palsy. Here's why it just didn't work for me. Like, I never really felt a good connection with the characters. I've I also have, like, I have a hard time reading romance novels where it's the celebrity trope, or like I don't do celebrity tropes very often, royalty, or there was a third one, sports player, which I guess is also celebrity, right? So I'm not big on those three things, okay? Just know that. So I was kind of hesitant with picking this up. But then it was like, oh man, if she's this really great dancer, why is she waiting on a job at a restaurant where you also like dance? Why is she not like on Broadway or at a dance company? And if he's this like fantastically charismatic, wonderful singer who draws in a crowd, why is he not making a career with singing? And like that's where I just had a hard problem, because it was like it just was so over the top description of like how wonderful and great they are. And I was just kind of like, I buying it because I'm very kind of hesitant with those things. And then the other problem that I had with it is that she has a boyfriend, and they keep talking about like, oh, they would never make moves on that boyfriend. She would never cheat on that boyfriend. But it was very clear that they were thinking about it. And so I had a problem with that, like, because that's cheating. And two, like, the guy wasn't, as far as I could tell so far, he didn't seem to be that much of a jerk. Like, a little self absorbed, but it wasn't bad. Like, it was just kind of like, just communicate with him and be like, hey, like, you're just communicate with him. And I think that problem could have been fixed. So that's why I was just like, I ain't buying this romance. And I'm not liking the fact that like they're not cheating yet, but like they're edging the line to emotional cheating. And so that's why I DNF'd it. And it makes me sad. I really did want to like it. Okay. So now on to the books that I read. It seems like not a lot after July was like 18 books. And remember that 3 of those books were really, really short middle grade books. It seems like not a lot, but one was a beast. So it's okay. It's like I read more than that. So the first book I read was Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. And I really did enjoy this book. It is full of snark. At the beginning, I felt like the snark kind of lightened up towards the end, and I wanted that snark humor to carry throughout the novel. I didn't say what rating I gave it. I gave it a 4-star rating, and the reason why I gave it 4 stars is like I wanted, if you're gonna be snarky, so in this the narrator speaks directly to us, and so if you're gonna remove that fourth wall and have snark, do it full on throughout the entire book. And I felt like it kind of lightened up on that. I did, however, really like the murder mystery aspect to it, and thought that it was a nicely developed plot line on that. So I do plan on picking up and reading the sequel to this. If you don't know, our main character, I don't remember his name. This is terrible. So our main character, he is invited to like a family reunion at a ski resort, and there's of course a murder, and who did it. And so the story is told basically like my mother, by like in sections of like people in his family and who they killed as the main. So that's all told, as then also our mystery is told. It was a really interesting concept. I'm curious to see how book 2 is going to go, because I feel like this was kind of something new. And so will he be able to carry that through? And again, I want more snark. Give me snark. Then the next book I read is a YA. Ooh, there's some leftover goop from the half-priced book sticker. Let's take that off. All right, so I read Pride and Premeditation, look how gorgeous this cover is by Tirzah Price. I love this cover. And there's 2 other books in this series, and all the covers are gorgeous. So Pride and Premeditation, I also gave 4 stars. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't like, yes. So in this novel, Elizabeth Darcy works for her dad. And Mr. Darcy, I said Elizabeth Darcy. Elizabeth Bennet works for her dad. And Mr. Bennet, he is a barrister, I believe. I did not know, but there's a difference between barristers and solicitors. So it doesn't say, the front flap doesn't say what he is. So I'm going to say he's a barrister. So Mr. Bennet is a barrister, and she desperately wants to also be a barrister. She needs to prove herself. So she takes on a case that has Mr. Charles Bingley. He has been arrested for the murder of someone. And he does escape. He does get out of jail, but she needs to prove Charles Bingley's innocence. In the meantime, Fitzwilliam Darcy, the Bingley's family barrister, is on the case as well. So it was really funny to read if you're familiar with Pride and Prejudice, because you have all the characters, all the places. So like Lizzie Bennet lives in Cheapside, which I just thought was delightful, because in the book it's her aunt and uncle that live in Cheapside, and her uncle is a barrister in Cheapside. So I really thought that was a neat nod. And just like all of the different characters show up. And there are even some lines that again, if you're familiar with the book, some of the lines that are said, it was good. I think anyone could enjoy that book without having knowledge of Pride and Prejudice, but knowing Pride and Prejudice, I think, enriches your experience. And then I read a novel love story by Ashley Poston. And in July, I read The 7-Year Slip, and I loved The 7-Year Slip. That still is like one of my favorite books of the year. This one fell short. So this I did give 4 stars, I believe. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. Man, nothing's really kind of hitting for me. So in this book, we follow our main character, Elsie, and she is on her way solo to a reading retreat. So every year, her best friend and then these other friends that she's met online would go to a cabin in I believe in upstate New York, and they would go there for a week, and they would just read and talk about their favorite romance novels. And her best friend can't go this year. So she's on her own, and as she's on her own, her car breaks down in this small town, which happens to be the town in her the romance novels that she loves. And inhabiting this town are all the fictional characters. How can that be? So the premise sounds really super cute, and it sounds like a super cute Hallmark movie. And so I was there for the premise. The execution, though, wasn't great. Like, there are some themes, just so you're aware, there are some themes of grief, just death, and just grief of relationships. But it wasn't fully developed how the 7-Year Slip was. And so that kind of, it just kind of fell flat for me. And there was also one really kind of big plot hole that I kept going, why aren't you asking this character about this? Why aren't you asking this character about this? And it goes on for like 100 pages where the one character does not ask the other character about something that is a major plot development. And the character's like, I need to know about this. And they never ask. So that's why it's only 4 stars. Do I recommend reading it? Of course. It was a good time. Was it her best? No. So definitely the 7 Year Slip, then this, as far as like Ashley Poston books. And then I read The Undermining of Twyla and Frank by Megan Bannon. And this is a companion novel to The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. And so in this, we have Twyla, who she's an older Marshall in Tenaria, and Frank. He's also older, getting closer to retirement age. And they've been working together as marshals. And his wife has left him for years, and they've been divorced, and her husband has passed away. She's been a widow for several years. And one of their co-workers ends up dead, and there is, like, he's covered in mysterious glitter, and there is a footprint next to him, and they're like, what is this? This is a dragon. So they, of course, investigate things and what's going on. And of course, there must be a romance, right? I mean, there's a heart there, but who hooks up? That is the question. I thought of this was super cute and just fun, romantic-y vibes, and the cover is gorgeous. I have it on my sheet as 4 stars. I actually think I would give it 4.5, just because I did really enjoy the story. Right, and then I don't have it, I read it on my Kindle, An Engagement Pact by Noelle Adams, and that's one of her, I don't know what series it's in. But basically, the Engagement Pact is, Vicky, our main character, is a dog walker, and our main male character needs to be engaged to someone and then get married to them, be married for only like a few months, and then he can break the engagement in order to inherit his inheritance. And she agrees to this because she is a dog walker. She's a professional dog walker, but she also is in college and trying to pay for that. So it was cute. It was enjoyable. It was a nice, light, fluffy read. I gave it 3.5 stars. Then my Chonky Beast. I read Oathbringer this month, and I gave this 4.5 stars. Here's why it does not rank higher than Words of Radiance or Way of Kings. And of the 3 books that I've read so far, Words of Radiance is by far the best. Although Way of Kings I also would give 5 stars. The reason why I did not give this 5 stars, I felt like it took me a little bit to get into. Like, I had read the first 200 pages a while ago, and then I did not pick up reading this either due to slumpy stress during the school year, readathons where it just did not fit in. Like, it's really hard to read a 1,200-page book during a readathon. Like, this would not have worked for the Amazing Readathon, okay? So there's that. And then there was also a sequence that it just annoyed me. And I felt like it took me out of the story. And I felt like it just went on for far too long. But what went right was so right. Like, how to talk about this without being spoilery, especially since it's the 3rd book. I really feel like it did a good job with the mental health rep. I know some don't like Shallan's mental health rep, but what I liked about her was she's very much trying to find her identity. And some of the things that different characters told her, like, I was crying. It was just beautiful. Like, I wrote in my journal, I have like hearts around it. I'm like, oh my gosh, just beautiful things that were said that came out of certain characters' mouths. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just beautiful. I will say this, there was one part that was hard for me to read, and it was hard to read. We have one character who we follow their descent into alcoholism and addiction, and that was tough for me to read. one, it's just tough to watch anyone do that. But then as like, I grew up with a parent who was alcoholic, and uh, they did, they were in recovery, but watching that and knowing like how that affects people, and then being in that character's mind as they're descending to alcoholism was rough. It was rough. But it was neat. This book was so neat because I'm finally like, oh, I see this connection to this book, and there's this connection to this book. And what made this experience also really fun for me was I read it. I was commenting on the book in Victoria's Musical Bookworm, is her channel name, A Musical Bookworm, and she has a Discord. So I was commenting on it in her Discord, and another person in her Discord was like replying to my comments. So if I had a question about something, he would answer or say like, I can't tell you that yet because that's a spoiler for Rhythm of War or for another book. So that was neat. And then also just to be like, oh, I see this connection to this book. Like this line connects back to Mistborn Era 1. And he was like, oh, I didn't even see that. So like that was cool because like he's reread these books already. And so I was like, I'm reading it for the first time and I'm making connections that people who know these books better than I do haven't seen yet. It was really exciting. It was fun. 4.5 stars. If you have not read Way of Kings, highly recommend it. All right, and then lastly, I read Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies by Catherine Mack. This was actually an ARC that I found at my free little library, or at a free little library in town. It did already come out. It says it was on sale April 30th of this year, so it is already out. This I really thoroughly enjoyed. It sounds like this will be, I think I gave this a 4.5 star. It sounds like this will be the first in a series. So the premise of this is Eleanor Dash, she's our main character. She is a mystery writer. And her mystery writing, her first novel, When in Rome, is published when after she took a vacation to Rome and worked with Connor, who is kind of a con man, Connor the con man, she solved these burglaries with him. And so she came home and she wrote this this book, When in Rome, and it took off. And 10 books later, it's the 10th anniversary of the publication of her first novel, and she's on this like tourist tour where her fans could visit Italy and some of the famous sites in her novels. And Connor is there. Her sister, who is like her assistant, is there. Like other mystery writers are there, and Connor is saying someone's trying to kill me, and Eleanor is like, yes, I'm trying to kill you off in my next novel, and there's reasons why. So, but she's not trying to kill him off in real life. And murders happen, and we need to figure out who is killing who and why. This also, like everyone in my family has killed someone, this also removes the fourth wall where our narrator will directly address us. And it is also full of snark. And I feel like this keeps that snark all the way through, and I was here for it. It definitely has more of a cozy vibe than Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. So of the two, I was looking for more cozy, fun, campy. So of the two, I would give this the better ranking. If you're looking for like more complex and twisty, Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. So, whew, that was all the books I read. Oh, I promised a little mini book haul. Okay, hold on. Sorry, my books are on the floor next to me. Okay, so with some money that I earned on my Pango shop, I bought The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston because I just need to read her. And then someone I met at the professional development that I went to, we were talking about Ashley Poston, and she was like, "Oh, you need to read her Geekerella series." So I will, at some point, check that out from the library. And then I did win, like I said, a Barnes & Noble gift card, and it was $25. So I said, all right, I'm going to just treat myself to a hardback that I normally don't want to buy, but I really, really want to. Well, I shouldn't say I don't want to buy. I do want to buy, but I am trying to watch money. Didn't work out too well in this little mini haul. So I bought The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. Here's what I love about this hardback. This is printed on the hardback. It's not a dust jacket. Like, how beautiful is that? So, and then I bought, this I did use my own money for. I bought Middlemarch by George Eliot. I've been meaning to read this for years. This is actually the third copy I've owned of this book, so I hope I enjoy it. But years ago, when I was in high school, I bought a mass market paperback, got rid of that. Then I had the Barnes & Noble edition. That's going to my Penguin shop now. I really love the Penguin Classics, the Black Classics, because one, they're floppy. And I love how they look on the shelf compared to the Barnes & Noble editions. So that's why I picked that one up. And that is all, folks. Tell me, what was your favorite book that you read in July? I would say for me, it would be Oathbringer. Do not let big books intimidate you. So I'm just going to give you a quick tip too about how I read Oathbringer. I figured out how many pages a day do I need to read in order to finish it by the end of July. Once I figured that out, then that became my goal. I met the goal. Okay, so I had about 38, 39 pages to read a day. And towards the end, I even put like Post-it note tabs to mark where I needed to reach. Once I hit my daily goal, then I went and read other books. So that way I didn't feel like I felt like I was able to make progress within books. Because reading a big chunker, it was like, okay, I'm on page 700, and people are like, woohoo! And like, I've got 500 more pages to go. Like, it's hard because you're just like, man, I read 700 pages. I still have 500. So that's how I do the bigger books. I break them up by chunks and I read lighter books along with them. So that way I don't get slumpy in it, and I can feel like I'm making progress on things and also still enjoy the book. And of course, like if I'm at a point where I'm like, this is really gelling for me, I'm going to keep reading. If I go beyond my goal that for the day, that's great. But I want to make sure I have the goal. Okay. Sorry for that. I know some people are like, how do you read big books? And that's how I do it. It's a system that works for me. Do you have a system for reading big books? What was your favorite read of July? What are you looking forward to in August? And since it's like 90 degrees and 90% humidity out, I was supposed to go to a family picnic this weekend, and I was like, if I drive 2 hours there, sit out in 90-degree weather for hours, and then drive 2 hours home, I'm going to have a migraine. So we're going to just stay home. So stay cool, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.